Jay from Team DMA. Quick video. This video is going to be regarding the hand and sequence. So I put on the top like the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5 for the sequence, but in reality, it doesn't matter the sequence. Like a lot of people think it's like a trick or something, a gimmick. It's not. All you're doing is drawing as much as you can. Once you hit like 15 cards that you draw, that's together with the 5, that's 50% of your deck. So you should have a bunch of negations and interruptions at that point, like somewhere around 3, 4 negates, 3, 4 interruptions. So that's gonna be it. There's nothing your opponent could do. The first cards that I usually play are cards that are searchers, because the searchers ensure that you're gonna be getting something, and you might feel like, oh well, that's the wrong move. Well, not really, because you're searching something, but they're gonna negate it. That's when you burn all your opponent's negates. They're forced to. There's no other way. They have to, like 100%. So when they do that, what ends up happening is they'll hit you with draw or whatever. And like I said, Dark Magician, the cards, if you read the cards, they tell you what they do, and those cards can escape draw. You just have to know uh, what the card says. But I don't like, I disclose a lot of the information, but a lot of the information I keep it to myself, because once I'm dueling against tier 1, tier 0 decks, there's information that only I know. And that's what makes you gain power over your opponent. The more you know and the less your opponent knows, the better for you, because your opponent thinks something, but he's wrong on everything. And then you don't think nothing, you just know everything, and it's different. Thinking and knowing is different. So like if they were to play a draw or something like that, I know on this hand, I know how to go through the draw. There's a combo for it. And I'll be showing you that in the future. But for now, we're just gonna go, we can forget about the numbers. But the first thing I would do is Rod, and you wanna search 2 cards. So you're gonna be getting Salvation to Eternal. So that's 2 cards down. So we're gonna add them. Then after that, you're going to activate the Secrets, Spellbook of Secrets, and that's gonna get you your 3rd card. So we have 3, and then from there you're going to stack the what's it called, souls. And then when you stack souls, you use the knowledge to hit the spellbook. Contrary to what people tell you that Rod and what's his name, Rod and spellbook don't work. That's because they're fake Dark Magician players. Because I'm just teaching you right now how you can. It's actually broken, because you have 3 and then you play it, and that'll get you Magician Souls and another card. So you're gonna have Magician Souls, another blank card. You're gonna have what's this called? There can only be one, and then the Eternal Soul with the Village on the field and Rod on the field. So what you're gonna do from there is you're gonna dump the Dark Magician, special summon the souls. Depending on what other card you have, you might need to trigger souls to activate the effect to draw more. So you're gonna be drawing more. So let's count it. So the Rod draws 2, and then the secrets will draw knowledge, and then knowledge will draw 2. So that's 5. And then with the souls, you're gonna be drawing 2 more cards. So that's 7 cards. And then from those cards that you drew, those cards will draw more. You'll probably be able to draw 3 more times, something like that, or more, because you have to remember the Soul Servants active in the graveyard. So in reality, that's 8 you're looking at 8 cards already mandatory, and that doesn't include the other cards that you're gonna draw to draw more. This is just like the mandatory. So you have to draw 8, and if you look at the math, you have 5 cards and you drew 8. So you drew 8 and you add it. So the number you're gonna be getting is, you have 13 cards, and from those 13 cards, those 13 cards that you have total now, those cards are utilized to create the board. Because when your opponent does something and you take the Max C challenge, that's what's essentially happening. You're drawing a bunch of cards in your hand. So I learned how to create Max C in 2019 without having it. So I just told you, and then it didn't matter if they drawed or they ashed or anything, because the deck still has a chain to draw more. And like I said, on more advanced later, once you get the use to the deck, I'll teach it to you. But when you look at the field, what's gonna end up happening on the field, you have there can only be one. There'll be a way to stop it. That's for sure. And you're gonna have some sort of fusion on the field. And usually from those combos, you'll get the right hand or uh, what is it? Uh, the re the restage for more bodies. Once you do that, you can turn the field into a lot of different things. Tapping into the Naruto or the Dragonite, and this is on top of all the other stuff. So the board is gonna end up having somewhere around 2 negate, and it's gonna have like 4 interruptions because with that you'll be drawing the Bestial. And when you summon the Bestial, sometimes when like I summon a card, never leave the rod there. What you do is you link to the Artemis, and then that'll dump it, and then the art you have to find a way to dump the Artemis to the graveyard or any of the monsters you have. It doesn't matter because you're gonna be removing a letter or a dock, remember? And Magna Hut or Magnamut, he's gonna be searching the Drissworm. So you're starting to notice like, oh crap. So now you're defended no matter what happens. It's gonna be coming out to defend plus the floodgate plus Omni negation plus Omni negation for the spell, and then another fusion. Like you start noticing it's too much. It's too much. So I was watching the way you played it. You ended up with one card and nothing in your hand. So that's not the right way to play it. So to be honest, I think the deck is gonna take you because you mastered the other profile. I think it's gonna take you this one. It could be that it's gonna take you somewhere around. I don't know if I were to take a guess, maybe like 3 weeks or a month to master it. But the whole point of the deck is to draw. I did see the other duel. The other duel, you lost the duel because you put in cards that are not in the profile. Once you mix cards that are not in the profile is no longer the one that was created. So the root something that's not in the deck. Imperm is not in the deck. Neither is Imperial Custom. You don't need them no more because there's other cards that do the same thing in the deck. You just have to read the cards. So I'm gonna resend you the list, and for the Imperm you can substitute either last turn or past turn. I don't remember what it's called. This is a trap, and it basically is skill drain. And then there can only be one. You have to have two. And then the fraud something that is not on there. Imperial Custom is not on there either. You have to have a dark bribe. And after you're done with all of that, you're pretty much done. For the what's that card called? For the servant, you don't need three. You just need two, and then you can play one of piercing the darkness. If you don't want piercing the darkness, then play like what's that other called? The chicken game. You can play chicken game, and you already know how to use that one. So essentially, like I said, I gotta end the video, but all that's happening is your goal, like 100%, your goal is always to draw around 15 to or more cards. If you don't do that, like I said, every single time, 100% of the time, if you don't do that, then you already know you're playing it wrong. Once you get used to it, like once you start seeing, you have, like let's say right now it's your first turn, right? And I didn't tell you what I said. When you end your turn, you're gonna notice your deck says 19 cards. You drew 21 cards. You drew 21 cards. So half of your deck, you finished it. So you might be wondering what's the other half? Nothing new, because the deck is set up in playsets in 3 and in 2s. So if you drew 50% of the deck or a little bit more, 1 or 2 cards over, the other rest of the deck is the same mirror that you have in your hand. 100% the cards that you have in your hand, those are the cards that are in the deck. And that's why it was created that way. There was a reason for the madness. So essentially, you don't need the rest of your deck. You already drew all your deck out because you drew 1 or 2 of the copies, and the third one is deep in the deck. But you don't need it because you have 1 or 2 of those already. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but what I'm saying, like to end the video, the rest of your deck is worthless. All of that is already in your hand. And then you establish the 4 or even 6 or 7 negations and 4 or 5 interruptions. So I suggest you continue to practice to draw a lot onto the deck. And it's not about anything else. Like, don't confuse yourself by thinking, oh, I have to do this or I have to do that. And it's all wrong. It's all about drawing. Once you draw everything, then the cards all the cards, like if you had Max C, once you have all the cards, then you establish all the negations. You'll see what you want to do. The deck can play village, and it can also add what it's called, Eradicator Epidemic. So basically, you trigger it with the bestial, you pop their spells, you play village, and then the right hand, and then a reroll, and you're starting to get the picture. You can negate 4 or 5 spells in a row, and that doesn't even include the rest of the deck. That's just the beginning of it. And every time that a turn ends, if you're not establishing more negations, more interruptions, you're playing it wrong. It can't be that a turn ends and you didn't increase it. Like if you started with 3 negations, 3 interruptions on your second turn, you should increase the negations or the interruptions more. And then once you start noticing that every turn you increased it and you're already at 10 or 12, then you know you're playing the deck correctly. That's going to be it for the video. Hopefully that was helpful to you, CJ, and anybody else trying the profile. So with that having been said, you guys, Dark Magic Attack.